As I fly around the country, I keep getting asked the same question by numerous sales reps. They ask me, Deshaun, what skills do you need to develop in order to have a successful, productive year? You don't need to worry about that no more. In today's episode, we're gonna cover the 5 skills you need to develop in order to have a productive time while you're in the field, especially if you're doing door-to-door roofing sales. And listen, if you want to learn what those 5 skills are, stick around to the end of this episode so we can make sure you strap with the skill sets you need to make sure you have a productive year, right? My name is Deshaun. I'm the owner and creator of Roof Hustles. I fly around the country and I help sales teams get their mind right so they can get their grind right. Taking it from average to good, from good to great. Always keeping food on their plate, baby. Because if you do what I do, it's a jungle out here. Welcome back to another episode of Roof Hustlers, baby.
I'm a hustler, man. I'm always get it off the muscle, man. Trying to make them hunters bust the rubber bands. Rain, sleet, hell or snow, I'm trying to get it in. Woo. I go door to door, stacking up them dollars like dominoes. I go door to door.
All right, so 5 skills you need to develop to make sure you have a productive time in the field and just have a productive year in general, right? So the first skill you need to develop in order to have a productive year and just a productive day in general is you need to develop the skill set of finding quality neighborhoods. So one thing I've noticed as I fly around the country, guys just wake up every day, get in their car and they drive around until they find a spot to work at. And that's horrible. You're wasting time. You're very inefficient. What I recommend, guys, is developing the skill set of finding quality neighborhoods. So what I would do is every night I sit down and I would get on Google Maps, tie it with the hailstorm map as well, and I start identifying neighborhoods that I want to work in. So what you do is you drop your little Google Maps guide down in the neighborhood. You see if it's 3 tabs, architecturals don't matter. And then what you do is you Google the street name and then you find out the age that the neighborhood was built. So it might be built in 2001, 2002, right? So now what you do is you write down that neighborhood, you put the date next to it, right? Also, I like to encourage guys, we don't chase storms always, we chase age. So if you're in neighborhoods that's anywhere between 15 to 20 years old, now when you're out there knocking doors, not only can you sell them an inspection to see if the insurance company will pay for it, but also you could just sell them on an inspection in general. And then if they got damage, we can also provide them with a retail estimate, right? That way you got a double-edged sword. You can lay up with your left, you can lay up with your right, but most importantly, you're not wasting time driving around looking for spots that you want to work. You can take it a layer deep. You can block it off by cities, right? By regions, depending on which side of town you're in. You got anywhere between 5 to 15 neighborhoods ready to go. So when you leave your house, you got your 3 ready to go. If you pull up in one that's not good, you got another one. You pull up in that one, it ain't hitting, you got another one. And this is the most important part when it comes to finding quality neighborhoods, right? Wherever you end up at the last 2 hours of the day, you just fully committed to that neighborhood. We don't bounce around, we don't jump, right? So the first skill set you need to develop is finding quality neighborhoods. And I know it seemed like a simple task, but most guys haven't developed the skill set of how to find quality neighborhoods. And in the roofing industry, your neighborhoods is your currency. So I got it, you got the hail map. Now sit down and just find you a bunch of old neighborhoods. So on the days when the storm dying down and you want somewhere to work, you can always have all these little pockets, different neighborhoods where you can go produce you some sales, right? That way you can have a productive day. So that's the first skill set you need to develop, finding quality neighborhoods. The second skill set that I recommend guys develop sooner than later is you need to develop the ability to control conversations. You gotta understand that's a skill set and you gotta be very particular about this skill set. Why? Because the more conversations you can control, the more sales you can close in due time, right? But the most important thing is developing that skill set of how to get into a conversation, control it, navigate it, and most importantly, leave on your own terms. Not your homeowner shutting you down, but you exiting the conversation because it might not make sense for you guys to move forward. So how do we control a conversation? First step, let's ask you the question, what controls a conversation? Questions. Always have 1 to 3 questions that can keep you in control. So for example, if you knock on the door and a homeowner say not interested, don't reply back, of course you're not interested. I ain't tell you nothing. When they say not interested, you say, hey, can I leave you with some information? Most of them will say yes to that. That's you controlling the conversation. Hey, can I ask you one more question before I get up out of here? Most people will stay anchored to that reply and boom, it's allowing you to stay in control of that conversation. Also, if you really want to learn how to control conversations at a high level, when you show up to the door, have conversations conversations that have no agenda, which means we're not focused on selling them a roof. We're just having casual conversation, getting to know our homeowners, right? I like to call them pattern interrupt questions. So you might knock on a homeowner door and they might got a tattoo on their face. They might got certain qualities and characteristics, just things about their house that gauges your interest. Don't be afraid to ask those, and it keeps you in control of the conversation, right? Anytime your homeowner give you a statement, we don't reply to the statement. We come back with a different question, an additional question. Hey man, I don't need no inspections. Completely understand. Do you know how old your roof is? They're gonna answer that question. That's keeping you in control of the conversation. Don't be afraid to crack a joke every now and then, right? It makes them laugh. That's a pattern interrupt. It resets the conversation. So listen, if you don't do anything, guys, learn how to develop the skill set of controlling conversations. Even if they don't want to talk to you, if you develop this skill set, you can keep people engaged in the conversation long enough till you can start talking about absolutely nothing. Then eventually we can bring it back to the topic of helping them get a new roof. We can ask enough questions, we can find the gap, and we can close the deal. So listen, you gotta develop the skill set of being able to control conversations. That way, if you stay in control, you get to leave it on your own terms and not the homeowner shutting the conversation down on you. So the second skill set you need to develop out here is the ability to control conversations. That's how you stay engaged long enough to find the gaps so you can close them, so you can close more deals, right? So listen, learn how to control conversations. The third skill set you need to develop that'll allow you to be more productive in the field or have more productive days out there is you have to develop the skill set of tone control. You gotta learn how to control your tone, guys, right? That allows you to gauge and control the emotional barometer of the conversations. So you gotta be mindful, it's numerous tones out here, right? You got your condescending tone. Well, homeowner like, I don't need no damage, or my roof not old. And you're like, oh, your roof not old, right? That's actually a condescending tone. You got your lack of confidence tones, which is where you kind of like asking, would they like an inspection if you happen to find damage? That's that tone that don't give off a lot of confidence. Then you got your assertive tone. If there is damage, you do want to take that next step to move forward, correct? Then you got your consideration tone, which is, hey, if you don't mind me asking, do you know the name of your homeowner's insurance? Right? A lot of consideration in that tone. Also, what's important, you got to avoid being monotone. You can't come to the door and say, hey, we're out here doing free inspection. Listen, that tone will bore people. But then also you can't have an overbearing tone because sometimes that can make people want to pull back. And you definitely can't come to the door with your quiet tone and just letting people know we out here doing free inspections because that's going to make them not want to listen to you. I've always lived by this saying, right? If they got a they done. So if you're at the door pitching your homeowner and they say, I want to let you know they're done with the conversation. So you have to have good tone control. Can you take the homeowner through the emotional roller coaster of you and fluctuating your tone depending on the type of people you're talking to and depending on the part of the process that you are in? So for example, when I get to the part to where I let people know we can help you get a brand new roof, get the insurance company to pay for it, I shift that tone. I go from, hey, we can help you guys get a brand new roof, and the cool thing about it, we're able to help you get a brand new roof and get the insurance company to pay for it. Sounds awesome, right? That's more of a compassionate consideration tone to let them know this part of the process is important. So I know you guys wondering, well, how do I manage my tone control? Anytime you're just in a normal conversation, I want you to picture this, right? Think about this. Just picture yourself asking for the salt. If you're at Thanksgiving dinner, you're talking to your uncle and you say, hey, Uncle Terry, pass me the salt. That is a really good tone to start with and manage when you're in your conversations. So listen, you have to develop the skill set of tone control. The perfect tone can take your homeowner on an emotional roller coaster. If you pitch in that tone and you actually drop it like this, they'll start to lean in because clearly they think you're saying something important, right? And then you can raise that thing up like, man, we've been helping a ton of people in the area. And now you throw in your voice and you're managing your tone, right? So listen, the third skill set you need to develop is tone control. Learn how to take your homeowners on an emotional roller coaster where they don't know where they're gonna go because the way you play with your tones keep them so engaged, keep them locked in, and on top of that, it allows you to control the conversation a little bit better, right? So the third skill set I need you to go develop to have productive days in the field is good tone control. Because I'm letting you know, you can say everything the right way, but in the wrong tone, and it won't have the impact that you hope it will. So learn how to control your tones, guys.
And now a word from one of our sponsors. Hey there, this episode of the Roof Hustlers is sponsored by the Best Hustler Academy. I know you tired of being average. I know you trying to pull up in the neighborhood and everybody say you say the same thing that everybody else done said before you got there. I know you tired of deals slipping out of your hands. If you tired of that, you need to join the Best Hustler Academy today. Get exclusive content that's not on YouTube. Get exclusive content that we teach before it even go public. Not only that, get some of the coolest marketing tips that can help you dominate your arena in your county, your city, whatever you in. If you want to get that information, come join the Best Hustler Academy today. I'll see y'all soon. Back to regular scheduled program.
The fourth skill that you need to develop to have productive, prosperous days in the field, right, is you have to develop the skill set of always maintaining a positive mindset. And I want you to be mindful of this. And having a positive mindset, it is a skill set because humans are naturally negative. Listen, 60 to 80% of your thoughts are negative. 80 to 90% of those thoughts are repeated, right? So you consistently got negative thoughts. I've recently read the book called The Art of the Impossible, and it says something that blew my mind. They said for one negative thought that you think about, you have to think about 3 positive thoughts just to even that out. So I want you to think about how many times you got negative thoughts in the field and you don't compound them with more positive thoughts. So we got to develop this skill set of having a positive mindset, which allows us to persist and be more resilient while we're in the field. So how do we develop this positive mindset consistently while we're in the field, right? So understand this, where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? So while we're in the field, I need you to only focus on the positive interactions, right? Look for the goodness in every situation that you're in. If you got an angry homeowner and they curse you out and they take your flyer, at least they took your flyer. If you're out there and there's good weather, focus on the good weather, right? Focus on the exercise. Also, focus on the law of sowing, right? It's a Chinese proverb that says, if a man works hard, the land will not be lazy. So when you're in the field, have this mindset of I'm sowing seeds and eventually they will grow. I don't know if it's gonna grow today, if it's gonna grow in a week, it's gonna grow in a month, but they will grow in due time, right? Also, just start thinking about all the awesome parts of the day. Start thinking about awesome past experiences you've had. Think about that time you knocked on that no soliciting door and the homeowner came out and said, yes, give me a free inspection. But I need you to always focus on the positive situations. Be mindful of your thoughts, which means when you catch a negative thought, replace it with a better thought, right? And if you don't have better thoughts, that's why you need a mantra to keep you in a positive mindset. Young homeowners are eager to talk to me. They like my vibe. They want to join my tribe. Business booming so much, I can't stop them from getting inspections. And when we get inspections, we're going to get the roof bought. I say that about 15 to 20 times to keep me in a positive mindset. Also, some things you can do. You can sing to yourself. You can have fun between the doors. You could run to every door. You could make it a competition to see how many doors you can get to. But these are all the things you're focusing on to make the day positive versus focusing on the negativity. Because in order for you to have a productive day in the field, you have to learn how to stay positive in the midst of adverse situations, right? Optimism, knowing that somebody gonna close, somebody wants your help. We just don't know where they're at, right? So it's our responsibility to keep knocking until we find them, right? Also, if you're kind of having a little bad day, who in your phone can you call that can get you back in a positive state of mind or give you some encouragement, give you some inspiration, give you some motivation? But listen, guys, you have to develop the skill set of always having a positive mindset, because that would allow you to have productive days in the field. And the greatest salesman, it says, I will persist until I succeed. It's a small difference that makes a big difference. And that's the difference between a positive mindset and a negative mindset. So you have to develop this skill set of positivity, guys. Why? Because it's gonna allow you to persist in the field, and it's gonna allow your days to be 10 times more productive. And after the day is over, just think about all the awesome things that's happened versus the little negative situations you was briefly in. So the fourth skill set you need to develop is maintaining a positive mindset while you're out here in the field. It'll allow you to be persistent, it'll allow you to be productive, it'll allow you to have great experiences, right? So develop that positive mindset. All right, we done covered 4 of them, right? We got finding quality neighborhoods, developing that skill set, developing the skill set of controlling conversations, being question-based, staying in control. Third skill set, tone management, learning how to fluctuate your tone, gonna allow you to have productive days in the field. Fourth one, maintaining that positive mindset. And the fifth and final skill set you need to develop in order to have productive days in the field is you have to develop the skill set of being able to identify the different personality types in a split second so you can stay efficient and effective and conversate at a very high level when you're in the field, right? So listen, one of my issues when I got started, I used to treat everybody ignorant. I used to treat every homeowner the same. Nobody got a different pitch or a different perspective from me. Now, once I developed the skill set of learning the 4 different types of homeowners, now I can cater my pitches. I can cater the way I handle objections, all of these things, right? So how do we develop the skill set of identifying the 4 types of homeowners, 4 types of salespeople? First and foremost, you need to take the test. Theflightassessment.com by Eric Thomas and Associates. That's the one I recommend. But take the flight assessment test so you can figure out who you are, right? Because once you know who you are, it's 10 times easier to see it in other people or identify the differences in yourself. So take the test, first and foremost. Second thing is go read the book, Navigate 2.0. That way you can learn how each person prefers to buy, the way they communicate, the words that they use, just their language. Because every different personality type has different languages. So now once you took the test, now you read Navigate 2.0, now we got to get in the field and actually start experiencing these things. So I'm gonna give you some additional tips so you can start identifying these people. First and foremost, pay attention to the exterior. So you got your bulldogs, you got your labs, your golden retrievers, your owls. Bulldogs are your direct people, straight to the point. Golden retrievers are your people. Labs are your easygoing, compliant homeowners, and your owls are your very detail-oriented people, right? So each personality type has certain ways they like to live their life. So if you got an owl, they probably got a clean-cut yard, right? Probably driving a Prius, very, meticulous, detailed things. If you got a lab, they probably more like a Toyota Camry type of person, right? Just an average house. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Probably been living in the same house for 20 years, right? Just a very consistent way of living. Golden retrievers, they're a little bit more flashy. Probably got a nice car in the driveway because they want you to identify, right? Probably got good decorations, flamboyant with their energy. Bulldogs, probably driving a big truck, right? Very plain. So that's how you can identify it externally, right? The exterior. Now, when they knock on the door, each one of them answers the door differently. Your bulldogs, what you want, right? Got to cater your pitch. Golden retrievers, they're going to walk out excited. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Dap you up, right? Maybe give you some water. Maybe give you some compliments. Labs, right? Very reserved. They're going to answer the door like this. What can I do for you? Why? Because they genuinely want to see how could they be of service, because labs love helping people. Then you got your owls. They're going to ask you, how can I help you? But not genuinely like, how can I help you? But it's more investigative like, why are you at my house? Let me give you a few more tips to identify these homeowners. And if you really want to learn how to identify these homeowners, you should come to the Best Hustler experience where you could take the test and figure out what type of sales rep you are, which is pretty cool. So bulldogs, they like to be in control. So if you meet a homeowner that's always trying to control the situation, they got that bulldog in them. Golden retrievers, their fear is not being liked. So if you got a yes man homeowner that just say yes, 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 they're a golden retriever. Why? They want you to like them. Then you got your labs. They enjoy safety. They motivated by safety. So they want to make sure if they do make a decision to move forward that you get, not guaranteed, but you feel pretty confident about the roof getting bought. They like to know you've already been through this experience before. They want to make sure their rate's not going to drop. All safety questions. And then you got your owls. They're motivated by accuracy and facts. So you need to come with them with facts, figures, stats, and make sure you got everything they need to have that peace of mind, right? Now listen, guys, big tip with these 4 types of homeowners. 80% of people got 2 dominant personality types. So you just can't look for the bulldog or just the owl in them. You got to look for the secondary. So they might be an owl bulldog. They might be a golden retriever bulldog, right? Extremely friendly, bubbly, but very direct. So be able to identify the secondary personality type as well. But listen, guys, if you get good at identifying the 4 types of homeowners while you're in the field, that's the highest skill set you could develop out there outside of closing deals in general. Why? Because you have an advantage over your competition. You know who you're talking to, and you can cater your pitch to speak the language that they prefer. So 5th and final skill set, you need to learn how to identify the different personality types. Adjust your pitch immediately so you can be effective, efficient, productive when you're talking to your homeowners. So listen, guys, what I say isn't law. It ain't the door-to-door Bible. But if you had to ask me what 5 skill sets you need to develop in order to be productive and have a prosperous year, run them back. You need to develop the ability to identify quality neighborhoods, 15 to 20 years old. You need to develop the skill set of controlling conversations, staying in control majority of the time. You got to develop tone control. Can you take that thing up? And when it gets serious, can you drop it and let them know how important this is? Also, you need to develop the skill set of staying in a positive mindset. You need a PMA, positive mental attitude. If you can develop that skill set of positivity, persistence goes through the roof. And last but not least, identify that skill set of being able to identify the different types of homeowners that you're running into so you can cater your pitch, so you can have productive conversations. So listen, guys, those are 5 skills that I feel like if you really dedicate some time, energy, and effort to, you will have extremely productive days in the field, and it makes it that much easier to keep fighting day in and day out. So listen, if you like what you heard today, please leave us some comments down in the comment box. We do pay attention to those. If there's any topics you want us to cover, shoot us an email over at deshaun@roofhustlers.com. We do pay attention to those, right? Also, make sure you follow us on all social platforms: Instagram, Roof Hustlers; Facebook, Deshaun Bryan; TikTok, Roof Hustlers; and of course, you're already over here at the YouTube channel, so you know how that go, right? Listen, it's always an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to serve you guys. Without y'all, there's no Roof Hustlers. And as always, baby, hustle hard, hustle small, and don't be afraid to both guard. Hustlers, I'm out.